was born and the time everybody was born, history has been on the course of change constantly, every single day. Over the past 15 and a half years, I've experienced many of these events, and some I have not. These are worldwide changes that have been created by people, from terrorists to scientists, that have helped continue the change of the course of our history. Today, I am here to talk to you about just a large handful of those events. In 2003, the Human Genome Project, which was a worldwide phenomenon, was started in 1990 and was completed in April of 2003. It was led by the National Institute of Health, and it helped development towards disease prevention. Scientists identified over 20,000 genes and the basis of DNA in humans. Shenzhou 5 in China in October was the first manned space mission, which was captained by Yang Liwei. Flight was 21 hours long and it landed in Mongolia. It was the third nation to launch a space mission. Saddam Hussein from Iraq, who was born on April 28, 1937, and had a dictator presidencyship, offered benefits of wealth, and those in opposition faced much torture during his time as a dictator. He was captured in 2003 by the U.S. 4th Infantry Division, and he was executed on December 30, 2006 by a hanging in Baghdad. The heat wave of France was over 104 degrees, and it killed over 5,000 people. It was one of the largest heat rises in history and affected the lives of many. The U.S. Space Shuttle, where Columbia crashed, was in Texas. It killed 7 astronauts on board: Kalpana Chawla, David Brown, Laura Blair Clark, Rick D. Husband, William McCool, Michael Anderson, and Jan Ramon. There was a breach in the thermal protection system on the left wing. This experiment was run by NASA. In 2004, in Japan, on December 26th, there was a 9.1 magnitude earthquake. It shocked buildings over thousands of miles away, hit with the power of 23,000 Hiroshima atomic bombs. The tsunamis in the quake killed over 220,000 people. It completely destroyed the city and buildings and devastated the lives of many. In Brazil, the same year, the first space rocket after the one that killed 21 employees, the USB-30. There was over 3 fails before this became successful. It was the positioning of the Space Center that helped save fuel by fast Earth rotation that got it into orbit. In Spain, there was a Madrid train bombing on March 11th. 193 were killed and over 2,000 were injured. It was one of the deadliest terrorisms ever recorded in Spain. It was believed to have been led by a Moroccan official. In Crosshill, Glasgow, Scotland, the House of Blood murders took place on the 17th of October. Ethan McAlladin, who was a prostitute, stabbed the leg of her boyfriend David Gillespie till he bled to death. Landlord Ian Mitchell was violently kicked till his brain bled him to death by John, Edith's son. Anthony Coyle ran and was beat down and killed by a golf club after he locked himself behind a door in the same house. In Israel, millions of locusts came from Egypt and ate all the crops during the Jewish Passover holiday. Locusts are like large crickets and completely destroyed all of the harvest that the Jews had created. In 2005, in Indonesia, an 8.7 magnitude earthquake struck Sumatra. It was the second largest earthquake there since 1965. It took place on the 28th of March. There was over 915 deaths on the island of Nias. In the Vatican, Europe, the Roman Catholic Church and Sistine Chapel ceilings by Michelangelo, Pope Paul John II dies. 4 million people flocked there to come and mourn him on that day. In Mexico, Hurricane Stan killed over 1,600 people. It started between October 1st through 5th. It was a Category 1 hurricane and it formed off of a tropical wave. In Liberia, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf elected the first woman president in Africa. She was born on October 29th of 1938. She's 80 years old, and she was the president from 2006 to 2018. She attended Harvard University as well. In the UK, same-sex partnerships were permitted by law. By the Civil Partnership Act, the rights were identical to civil regular marriage. In 2006, in Saudi Arabia, Mina, the stampede during the Stoning of the Devil, where Muslim pilgrims threw pebbles at 3 walls, which is a ritual act. During the Hajj pilgrimage, there was over 362 Muslim pilgrims that were killed. In Mexico, 65 miners were trapped underground. There were no survivors on February 19th of this day. It was caused by a methane explosion, and the gas leak could have been preventable, as the miners did know about the issues going on. In India, over 160 people were killed on July 11th by 7 bombs on the Mumbai train, which was caused by terrorist attackers. North Korea created its first nuclear weapon. It was the 9th country to make a nuclear weapon on October 9th. Australia, there was over $1.1 billion in damages by a Category 5 tropical cyclone named Larry. The wind speeds reached over to 135 miles per hour. Between March 18th to the 24th, there was only 1 fatality. In 2007, in Karachi, Pakistan, on June 23rd, Cyclone Yemyen developed over the Bay of Bengal. It killed over 200 in Karachi city, and on June 26, it killed over 300 people in the Balochistan province. It affected over 2 million, completely devastating the town and homes. It was the 3rd deadliest cyclone ever recorded in Karachi. In Peru, an earthquake with an 8.0 magnitude also killed over 500 people. Scotland, there was a terrorist attack on the Glasgow airport on the 30th of June. A jeep filled with explosives was blown up by the doors of the airport. There was 1 death, who was a perpetrator who committed suicide, and 5 fatalities. Bilal Abdullah and Khalid Ahmed were believed to be the leaders in this operation. In the U.S., Apple releases its first iPhone on June 29th after a failed attempt, and they were first registered for over $600 for a phone. In Singapore, it was the first to fly an A380 jet between Australia and Singapore itself. In 2008, in Pakistan, a suicide bomber killed over 40 people during a tribal gathering at the Marriott Hotel. A huge truck bomb came through and assisted the bomber, and the bomb hole left a 40-foot wide and 25-foot deep aftermath. In China, there was a 7.8 magnitude earthquake in Chengdu. It left 60,000 plus dead, 5 million homeless on the fateful day of May 12th. In Switzerland, an LHC collider was invented during October. It took between 1998 and 2008 for its building, and it's the world's largest particle accelerator. It has a 17-mile circumference, and it could possibly create a black hole. Kenya. 1,500 were killed over the election of President Mwai Kibaki. 600,000 were displaced between December 27th to February 28th. Police had to shoot thousands to keep the crowd in control. In Canada, at 2 a.m. on September 19th, originally built in 1947, the Sudbury Steelworks Hall was set aflame. It was arson by 2 young offenders. In 2009, in Victoria, Australia, the deadliest bushfires were ever recorded. They were known as Black Saturday bushfires on February 7th, where over 173 people died and 2,000 homes were destroyed. There were 400 individual fires caused by arson and lightning, and over 414 injuries were sustained. In Russia, they shut off all the gas in Europe through Ukraine, over a debt of $2.4 billion that was owed to them. Between January 1st to the 7th, they slowly shut all the gas off. Bulgaria, Moldova, and Slovakia were the worst affected. The settlement was finally agreed between Gazprom and Ukraine on January 30th. In Indonesia, a 7.6 magnitude earthquake 28 miles northwest of Dadang, Sumatra, killed over 1,000 on September 30th. In Eel, Somalia, on April 8th, pirates hijacked MV Meres cargo ship. Captain Phillips was captured. Between April 9th through 12th, there was a standoff between 4 pirates in USS Bainbridge and Halliburton. In Italy, Europe, 6.3 magnitude earthquake was recorded called La Aquila. It killed over 300 on April 6th. In 2010, in the United Arab Emirates in Dubai, Burj Khalifa skyscraper. During January, the tallest building in the world was built. It had over 163 floors. They started building in 2004. There's everything included in there from work to a hotel, and it stands over 2,700 feet tall. In Pakistan, floods caused by monsoons destroyed 20% of the country, and millions were homeless and starving. In Russia, suicide bombers hijacked trains at Central Lubyanka Station and Park Kulturi. They killed 40, 60 were injured on March 29th. In Haiti, a magnitude 7 earthquake completely devastated the country on January 12th. There were over 230,000 deaths. It completely destroyed the area. In Chile, an 8.8 magnitude earthquake as well, which is the 6th largest earthquake ever recorded in history, was caused by a tsunami, and it killed over 500 on February 27th. In Japan, on March 11th, in 2010, an underwater 9.0 magnitude earthquake and tsunami hit the Lowell Prefecture with 130-foot waves. It triggered a nuclear disaster at Fukushima Daiichi power plant, and tons of radioactive water was spewed everywhere. There was over 16,000 deaths from the destruction. In Norway, a bomb blast in Oslo killed 8 people. Anders Behring Breivik kills another 68 people on an island for political reasons. In Pakistan, on May 2nd, Obama says that Osama bin has been killed by the U.S. Navy, killed in Abbottabad, Pakistan, by Navy SEALs. The man responsible for 2001 attacks, it was believed. In the UK, on August 7th, Tottenham protesters against police shooting a man. Riots completely burned buildings, robbed, and attacked many people. In 2012, in Denmark, first laws approved in 1999 were then forwarded till now that approve same-sex laws, including marriage. Worldwide, transit of Venus was able to be seen. Venus eclipses over the sun, and it won't ever happen again until 2117. It lasted for 7 hours long, over June 5th and June 6th. In China, the first woman astronaut was brought up. Liu Yang, 33 years old, and she was a military pilot. She's part of the Shenzhou 9 capsule experiments, and she helped in Tiangong Space Lab. In the USA, 21-year-old Adam Lanza attacked Sandy Hook Elementary, Connecticut, killed 26 on December 14th. He killed himself before he was ever found, and it was the second deadliest mass shooting ever created by one man in U.S. history. In 2013, in Russia, a meteor explodes near Chelyabinsk, and it injures over 1,500 people on February 15th. In Bangladesh, the garment factory collapses, and it kills over 1,127 people and injures over 2,000. oldest Roman temple that dates back to the 6th BC. In Australia, national universities discovered the oldest known star, which was 13.6 billion years old on February 9th. In 2015, in Bhutan on June 2nd, the world record tree planting happened in Asia, where over 49,672 trees were planted just in 1 hour to help our world become a better place. In Yangtze River, Rivington Airport and Malibu Metro Station killed 28 people and left 260 injured. It was believed to be started by ISIS. In Mexico on April 6th, a baby with 3 different parents' DNA was found through mitochondrial transfer and sent there. During 2017, in China on January 30th, scientists found the oldest human ancestors, which were over 540 million years old, Saccharomyces fossils. In India, a space rocket POS February 7th, an armed group releases over 300 child soldiers from captivity. A worldwide issue presented on February 7th shows that citrus fruits were probably all dated back to the foothills of the Himalayas. And lastly, in China, the other side of the moon.